When you started receiving a torrent of text messages, your entire world came crashing down. Because of your courage to speak up about what you saw in the music industry, screenshots, rumors, and malicious lies about you spread like wildfire via group chats and social networks. All of this occurred because you said something about what you saw. Your years of true friendships and trust appear to vanish in a matter of hours. During the time that you were at home, trying to make sense of what was going on, they were hard at work constructing their own interpretation of the events. At this point, the same individuals who had previously shared meals at your table have now swapped distorted stories about your personality. However, phone records do not lie. Neither do location data, preserved texts, or the increasing number of witnesses who are coming forward with the truth about what happened can be denied. And now, as more people are finding the guts to speak up, those who are trying to harm you are learning that karma does not forget an address. In the instant that your presence interrupted their design, and the time that your power was not founded on their foundations, they watched you before you even knew that they existed. They did not label you with words, nor did they threaten you openly. Rather, they marked you with silence that was so heavy that it suffocated you, and they created impediments where none should have been, because they were waiting for the day that you would give in to the pressure of resistance. They put your patience to the test. On the other hand, you never did. Every attempt to break you turned into another lesson in perseverance, and every darkness that was cast over you simply served to demonstrate how brightly you blazed. Don't just watch. Be part of the journey. Hit subscribe now and step into your purpose. The best is yet to come. As a result, they altered their strategy, which was not to bring you down, but rather to make you question whether or not you have ever stood up. They did not come with swords. Rather, they came with poisoned hands, bringing you solace that was tainted with quiet destruction. They spoke of equilibrium, submission, and surrender as symbols of wisdom. They persuaded a great number of people before you, and they buried a great number of people in the shallow graves of their own disbelief. You, on the other hand, did not voluntarily enter the trap. Rather, you witnessed what they feared, a power that was untethered, a force that was not bound by their laws. They were unsuccessful in their attempts to exert control over you. Rather, they failed because they failed to recognize the inevitability of your rise to power. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, says Isaiah 54:17. And my friend, that's not just a verse, it's a declaration about you. Because you were never the weapon, you were always the answer. When they tried to stop you, all they did was start their own unraveling. Your walk isn't ordinary. Your steps were etched into the heavens long before you took your first breath. The ones trying to hold you back don't get it, because their eyes are bound to the ground, while yours are fixed on eternity. You're chosen. And that isn't a title, it's a calling. It's God saying, "Go forward, for I am with you." Now look here. When they tried to accuse you, did you notice how loud they got? That's because you were a threat, even in silence. You shook their kingdoms without lifting a hand, and that's why they're falling now. It's never been about your actions. It's your refusal to submit, your divine fire, your God-given presence. They can't understand it because they built their world on control, and you were born from freedom. And now, every time they speak of you, they lace it with fear. They say, but they're too ambitious, but they're too angry, but they're too different. That difference? That's your divine design. That's your holy mark. Because God didn't make you to fit into molds. He shaped you to break them. When they label you a danger, what they're really doing is confessing. They're admitting that the light inside you can no longer be dimmed. They're admitting that your voice, no matter how they try to muffle it, keeps rising. And in that moment, their illusion of order crumbles, because you're not a visitor on that stage anymore. You've taken the stage and the crown that comes with it. Think about King David. He started as a shepherd, overlooked, dismissed. They laughed at the idea of him becoming royalty, but God didn't. God saw the heart, not the herd. And when the time came, it was David who stepped forward, not with armor, not with titles, but with a sling and a purpose. And giants fell. That's you. You were never meant to ask for permission, and you were never supposed to kneel. They speak of endings, like they still hold the pen, like their trembling hands can still write your story. But you already rewrote it. You're not their trophy, you're not their lesson. You are the force they said could never be. Their voices crack under the weight of your refusal. The sound of your name causes them to tremble, not out of hate, but out of fear. Not because you've wronged them, but because you never bowed. You tore through their illusions like a storm through brittle glass. And now, all they can do is whisper warnings about you. They say you're reckless. They say you're dangerous. They say you must be stopped. But let's ask the real question. Does a monarch fear a nameless wanderer? Does an empire tremble at the presence of the powerless? Never. They fear you because you were never meant to be controlled. You don't represent rebellion. You represent a power they were never prepared to face. A power that speaks of heaven. A power that cannot be bought, broken, or buried. So walk tall, because your victory was never up for debate. And the kingdom that backs you, it doesn't lose. It is as if they are desperately trying to convince you that you are not who you know yourself to be. You can feel the way that they are pressing on you and the way that they are clawing at your foundation. They inundate the atmosphere with uncertainty and terror, and they employ subtle manipulations with the intention of making you pause. But those who are still looking for approval are the ones who have the luxury of hesitating. And you do not. Their resistance is not a burden for you. Rather, it is evidence of your truth. Despite the fact that they would gather in the shadows to talk about you if you were insignificant, you were never unimportant. If they did not think, to the very depths of their beings, that you were capable of destroying everything that they had constructed, then they would not come together to oppose you. Therefore, allow them to feel afraid, allow them to plot, and allow them to implore the cosmos to quiet you before it is too late. It is already too late. It is not your concern that they are afraid. Rather, their dread is your crown. You do not require their authorization to ascend. In fact, you have never done so, and this is the thing that terrifies them the most. They built masks out of borrowed dignity and enveloped themselves in falsehoods that were woven so closely that they believed in their own deception. They held power via illusion rather than real strength. You were never blind, however. You witnessed the fissures that appeared beneath the weight of their own contradictions, as well as the way in which their voices wavered when they were forced to confront their own falsities. You saw beyond the surface. You saw the fissures in their armor long before they realized they were cracking, and you built their rule on borrowed time, on stolen legitimacy, and on the belief that no one would ever question them. However, you did see beyond the surface. Moreover, the weight of reality is now doing something that revenge was never able to do. It is eroding them fundamentally. When it comes to dismantling them, you do not require any kind of weapon. They unravel by their own hands, by the identical plans that they had previously used against you. The threat they made is now nothing more than hollow echoes, and their whispers become stuttering. Despite the fact that they talk about order, chaos is the result of their actions. Despite the fact that they pretend to be wise, their behaviors contradict what they say. Because you are standing there unmoved, all you have to do is watch as their well-constructed foundations collapse under the weight of their own dishonesty. It was never in your hands to bring about their demise. Rather, it was in their own arrogance that brought about their downfall. They attempted to erase you, silence you, and bury you beneath their delusions. It is not possible to bribe or quiet the truth. It will rise up just as you have. Truth is not an adversary. They are confronted with something that made them unprepared: exposure. At the same time as they are hunting for shadows that do not exist anymore, they are reaching for masks that have already fallen. Truth does not yield, and neither do you. They talk about rewriting the past, about misunderstandings, and about redemption, but truth does not yield. They believed that you were a barrier, yet you were always the one who was being accounted for. Their rage is like a wildfire that was started by the sheer boldness of the evil force's misdeeds, and it causes the masses to roar with a fury that shakes the foundations of the earth. They are aware of the wrongs that have been committed against you, the chosen ones, and their anger serves as a mirror that reflects the divine imbalance. The motivation behind their actions is not merely a sense of compassion. Rather, it is the fundamental acknowledgement of a sacred truth. You are the pivot point around which justice revolves. When you are struck by the dark force, they do more than just cause you hurt. They also challenge the fundamental order of things. The fury of the people is not a random occurrence. Rather, it is the universe's method of mobilizing its forces, a collective cry that reverberates down the halls of time, demanding something to be done about it. The reason they are so enraged is because they are aware, to the very depths of their beings, that to wrong you is to undermine the very equilibrium of the universe. Take into consideration the contemporary manifestations of this truth. When the weight of corruption crushes innocence, when the vulnerable are hushed by the powerful, the world does not remain mute. When one instance of injustice is filmed and magnified, it can become a trigger for the collective anger of a group of people. The dark force is under the impression that their schemes will be unopposed, therefore they fail to recognize the strength that the masses possess. However, the people are able to see through the veil. They are able to detect the patterns, the lies, the manipulation, and the stealing of light, and they lift themselves up, not only for you, but also for the principle that you represent. Their rage is a weapon that has been forged in the fires of common humanity, and it is used with precision against those who have the audacity to upset the natural order. We would like to take a minute to recognize those individuals who have been selected among us. Here is to those individuals who have a unique perspective on the world, the silent guardians, the watching souls, who are always awake and always vigilant. They are not the typical type, and they wouldn't have it any other way they would have it. While others travel down well-trodden roads, some make their own, engaging in fights that are not visible to others and shedding light on the darkness. Despite the fact that it is not suitable for everyone, you will know that this is meant for you if you have a strong feeling that it is meant for you. Just the truth, with no disguises or pretenses. Don't just watch, be part of the journey. Hit subscribe now and step into your purpose. The best is yet to come. As the dark force operates with calculated precision, its plots are weaved together like sophisticated traps that are designed to ensnare and destroy, but their efforts are thwarted by an invisible barrier, which is a force that is significantly more powerful than their malice. You are protected by a power that is beyond their comprehension, a supernatural armor that renders their weapons ineffective and causes them to become dust. Every single attack that they launch and every single plan that they carry out is met with resistance that they are unable to comprehend. Because of their haughtiness, they are unable to see the reality of the situation. They are not fighting you alone. Rather, they are competing against a force that has been around since the beginning of creation, a power that warps reality in order to defend those it loves. Their downfall is not a coincidence. Rather, it is predetermined. A demonstration of your invincibility is created by the fact that they seek to cause you damage. Your resiliency causes their traps to fail, their lies to fall apart, and their strength to fall short in the face of your perseverance. In reality, the dark force is nothing more than characters in a script that was written by a higher hand, but they are under the impression that they are the ones responsible for your demise. Their efforts, which were intended to destroy, instead demonstrate the futility of their struggle. Each unsuccessful attempt is a manifestation of the divine order at work when it actually occurs. The blows they deliver are poisonous, and their intents are shrewd and ruthless. They are designed to break you. However, what they fail to comprehend is that the attacks they launch against you are not the conclusion of your journey. Rather, they are the beginning of your journey. Every hit they deliver and every wound they inflict into you becomes a crucible in which your power is formed during the course of the fight. You are not destroyed by pain. Rather, it will purify you. The challenges that they organize are not chains, but rather stepping stones, with each one bringing you closer to the reality of your purpose and lifting you at a higher level. Their malice is a weapon in the hands of a more powerful force, and it is sculpting you into something that would be beyond their ability to grasp. You are not so much as enduring, you are transcending. Your reaction to their assaults is not defiance, rather, it is revelation. Where they anticipate hopelessness, they discover tenacity. Where they predict collapse, they see transformation. Your grace in the face of adversity is not human, rather, it is divine. They are only succeeding in amplifying your voice via their efforts to quiet you, and their efforts to bury you are merely planting the seeds of your legacy. Your truth, which is indisputable and unshakable, is shown on a stage that is created by the impact that they have on your life. You have transformed your sorrow into strength and your agony into power. This is the alchemy of your existence. The shadowy power is unable to perceive it, but the actions they take are not their own. Rather, they are instruments in a larger plan, one that assures each and every one of their actions contributes to your advancement. Your tribulations are not merely fights. Rather, they are the fulfillment of predictions. The wounds that they leave behind are not signs of defeat, but rather badges of victory. They are evidence that you have confronted the darkness and escaped unscathed. You are a testament that has been written in the ink of struggle and lit by the light of transcendence. Your life is a testimonial. They move with the haughtiness of individuals who are under the impression that they are in charge of the board. Their plans are ingenious and their intentions are poisonous. They are oblivious to the reality, however, which is that this is not their game. There is a spiritual chessboard that is beyond their comprehension, and every attack that they launch and every plot that they create is a move on that board. They are only able to see what is immediate, what is material, and what is ephemeral. What they are unable to see is the divine hand that is guiding every counter-move, converting their aggressiveness into opportunity and their venom into momentum. Not only is destruction not your end, but it is also your beginning. You are comparable to the phoenix in that you emerge from the ashes of their endeavors and are reborn in flames that they are unable to control. They are under the impression that they are eliminating you, but in truth, they are the ones who are preparing the ground for your triumph. It is not their fires that consume, rather, they purify. Not only does their disorder not disperse, but it also consolidates. You are not the only thing they are fighting against. They are fighting against the whole fabric of existence, and existence is almost always victorious. They will succumb to their blindness and their arrogance, which will ultimately lead to their demise. As the ones who have been selected, the game has been rigged from the very beginning to work in your advantage. Through the use of borrowed dignity, they fashioned masks for themselves and wrapped themselves in lies that were so closely knit that they believed in their own deception. On the other hand, you were never blind. You witnessed the cracks that appeared under the weight of their contradictions, as well as the way that their voices faltered when they were forced to confront their lies. You saw beyond the surface. You saw the fissures in their armor long before they realized they were cracking, and you built their rule on borrowed time, on stolen legitimacy, and on the belief that no one would ever question them. However, you did see beyond the surface. The attacks that they launch are meant to quiet and destroy, and they hit with pinpoint accuracy. However, they fail to understand that their aggression does not stop with you. Rather, it reverberates across the community. Each and every blow that they deliver and each and every wound that they inflict causes shockwaves to go through human mind. This anguish that you are experiencing is not a singular occurrence. Rather, it is a catalyst, a seismic shift that reawakens hidden realities in those who are witnesses to it. Throughout history, there are several examples of people who were defeated yet later rose to prominence as symbols of resistance. Despite the fact that they are assaulted because of their light, their suffering serves as a beacon, shedding light on the way forward for others. Although they are under the impression that they are eliminating a danger, in reality, they are establishing a myth. There is no use in wasting your suffering. Rather, it is the spark that ignites a universal awakening. Because you are able to maintain your composure, you are able to inspire others to do the same. When you are courageous, it becomes infectious. And when you are resilient, it serves as a model for those who have not yet discovered their voice. Your narrative serves as a rallying cry for those who are affected by oppression. And the world does not forget those who persevere. Because they are under the impression that their laughter would drown out your voice, they will ignore you, disregard you, and even mock you. On the other hand, their scorn is a cover for their fear, and their attempts to minimize you are a declaration of control over you. The trajectory of history can be said to bend in the direction of truth, and every chosen individual who confronted their derision eventually emerged victorious. The sound of their laughter diminishes, their resistance disintegrates, and it is obvious that they will be defeated. They thrive on the havoc that your fury causes, on the affirmation of your engagement, and on the emotion that you respond to. On the other hand, they fall apart when you do not respond to them, and when you do not fight on their terms. The purpose of their weaponry was to cause commotion, to provoke arguments, and to cause destruction. You do not show them any anger, despair, or any indication that their existence is of any significance to you. You do not offer them anything, and that is what brings about their demise. Your quiet is not a sign of weakness. Rather, it is a sign of control. That you do not have to respond to powers that are beneath you is the silent declaration that you make. They use more force in the hope of breaking something that they are unable to move. They try every boundary in an effort to find the very point at which your constraint will snap. Your mere presence, on the other hand, is sufficient to bring them down. It was never intended for you to follow. Rather, you were destined to disassemble, to redefine, and to mold life via the utilization of your willpower. Don't just watch, be part of the journey. Hit subscribe now and step into your purpose. The best is yet to come. Every difficulty, every betrayal, and every conflict that you went through was not an impediment. Rather, it was the fire that shaped you over time. They made an effort to stifle your voice, erase your memory, and get you to question your own power, but all they accomplished was to sharpen your edge. At this moment, you find yourself standing on the precipice of history, not as a product of their world, but as the builder of what is to come. That they are aware of the fact that your elevation is unavoidable is the reason why they worked so hard for it. However, the outcome of the war has already been decided. You are present, you have recognized the deceit, and now the entire world will experience the impact of your presence, your voice, your truth, and your very being. This is what causes the narrative to be rewritten. Therefore, not as a follower of what has been, but rather as the force that is molding what will be. Speak up, move, and claim your place. What has happened so far in your conflict? What steps have you taken to dispel the false beliefs that they attempted to instill in you? It is important to let others know that they are not alone in their struggle.